Third Waycross City Commission Planning and Information Session to order. I'm going to ask the city manager for invocation.
Yes, Mayor Pro Temp. The invocation is supposed to be led by the Mayor Pro Temp, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us stand. Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we bow our heads in total honor to you. And Father, we thank you for this opportunity you've afforded us, Lord, to serve as commissioners for the city of Waycross. But help us, Father, to lead with integrity and wisdom. For you said, if a man lack wisdom, that you give it liberally. Father, we ask blessings upon everyone in this presence. We ask blessings upon the staff of the city of Waycross, the city manager, and all the residents to reside. But help us, Lord, to be about your business, about glorifying you in all that we say and do. For these things we ask in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Do we have any guests? No guests, okay. Amen. I turn it back to the city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, we have no travel and training scheduled at this time or request. We will go ahead and move into the planning and information sessions. Mr. Pro Temp Mayor, I'd like to make a small request. We had scheduled for 2 short presentations during my update, but they both have to leave now for other reasons. I want to push them ahead, and then we'll start the rest of the agenda.
Yes,
so we'll start with oath, and we asked them to come. We asked some new members of the oath team. In lieu of, we had a great conversation about unhoused citizens last meeting, so I want to reintroduce them, and I think Eunice is going to go first, and then we have oath speaking. It'll be just a quick introduction and just about some of the efforts for our unhoused residents.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shonda Miller. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Unison, and this is Viva Steege, who's our Clinical Director. So we've been asked to come and talk with you guys a little bit about some of the programs that we have for our homeless individuals. So Viva's going to start off by telling you all about our permanent supportive housing program and our community residential rehabilitation program, and then I will kind of finish that off with talking about our Georgia housing voucher program. All right, for both programs, to be eligible, you have to be a client with Unison Services. But for permanent supportive housing, some information about it. It's designated for individuals with a serious mental illness, and they have to meet the federal definition of homelessness. So that definition is unsheltered, living in a place not meant for human habitation, such as streets, cars, or parks, or sheltered, which is staying in an emergency shelter, a transitional housing, or a hotel or motel that's paid by a charitable entity or government program. And also they need to be exiting a institutional setting, so that would be like jail or a hospital for inpatient care for behavioral health. And for that requirement, they should not have been in that institutional setting for longer than 90 days. In addition to that, there's also a percentage of clients that we have to make sure that fall within a chronic homelessness definition. So a percentage of our 57 available beds have to fall into that population. For that criteria, they have to be continuously homeless for 12 months or longer, or having at least 4 separate occasions of homelessness over the past 3 years for a total of 12 months of homelessness. So for the program, the focus is on long-term stability. They are assigned a case manager that helps them with independent living skills, community resources, and of course maintaining treatment compliance with what's ordered in their treatment plan through Unison. The optimal goal is for everyone to be employed and be responsible for 30% of the cost to house them, which includes rent, utilities,
And so if they're not employed when they come into the program, that's one of the main goals, is to find them employment so that they can contribute their 30%. The majority of our 57 units is scattered throughout Ware County, Pierce, and Coffee counties, with the majority being in Ware County. And then the final requirement for the program is that the clients must participate in support services, which is defined as our day service program. So the clients who are not employed would attend treatment services 5 days a week, Monday through Friday with us, until they are able to obtain employment. For the other program that I supervise, it's our community residential rehabilitation. It's a level 3 program that's through the Department of Behavioral Health. So for this program, it's meeting the same definition that I spoke to earlier for homelessness. In addition to having the severe and persistent mental illness, they have to have functional limitations to be able to participate in the program. So there needs to be like a documented assessment of impaired ability for them to live independently in the community. So we do have staff who are on site with this population. There's only 10 beds for this program, and it's kind of housed in a duplex here in Ware County. We have 4 female and 6 female, 4 male and 6 female beds. And we do have staff that's on site at least 36 hours a week that helps them with skills building and stabilization. For the population to qualify, they should have been recently released from like inpatient care, which would be the hospital or CSU, and then have the persistent symptoms that place the individual at risk of harm to themselves or others. In addition to that, diagnosis, they also can have a co-occurring substance use diagnosis for this program. So individuals are strongly encouraged to attend day services as well. So that was the day program I mentioned earlier. Again, it's funded by DBHDD, and the length of stay for that program is 12 to 18 months. We can request 24 months if it's needed, but we kind of have to justify that and request it through the department. So the goal for that program is to transition them to a lower level of care, which would be independent housing.
And so as Viva said, that one's funded by the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disability, and the other one that she was discussing, the Permanent Supportive Housing, is mainly funded through DCA. Our rent and utilities for the individuals and some of our support services is funded through DCA, and we receive just a few dollars from DBHDD with that program as well.
It's a DCA grant that we have to apply for each year.
Yep. And so the additional programs that we have is the Georgia Housing Voucher Program. So that is funded through the Department of Behavioral Health as well. So there's kind of a pathway for individuals. They also have to meet that HUD homeless definition. So individuals receive what we call a housing need and choice survey, which would make the referral to either housing choice voucher, which some of you may have known as formerly as Section 8 through DCA, or the Georgia Housing Voucher Program. So typically, we see the individuals that might get referred for the Georgia Housing Voucher Program as those that might not meet the criteria for the housing choice voucher program. So that, again, they have to have the psychiatric diagnosis, they have to meet that HUD definition, and I will say, the goal there, they do receive assistance in terms of their rent and utilities, but the goal is also to help those individuals receive income and eventually be able to pay for 30% towards the cost of their living there. And so we're, constantly work with those individuals on trying to refer them. We did receive word today that the Georgia Housing Voucher has a wait list now. Wow. So if individuals qualify for this program, they're going to be put on a wait list because of, the shortages and stuff. And I will say, one of the things that we run into, like with the Georgia Housing Voucher versus the other programs, is we already have these apartments for these other programs. But with the Georgia Housing Voucher, it's Legacy Behavioral Health actually has the contract for our region where they assist the individuals. We used to do it, and some of that might be coming back to us now, where we have to go out and seek the landlords and the apartments out for the individuals. And I will say that it's not a quick process. It's a pretty lengthy process for the individuals. And then I just wanted to say that we work hand in hand with Oath. We have a healthcare navigator who is in the Oath office twice a week, and we work on, with them on getting referrals from them into our services that can help connect them to these programs. So, any questions?
Thank you very much. Did any of the commissioners have any questions?
None.
Mr. Mayor, I got one question.
Yes.
Can y'all, how many beds are currently taken right now? Can y'all say that out loud? Y'all say
Yeah.
that real quick. And then tell them by definition of unhoused, what happens if I no longer fit that definition? Any point in the process. Explain that.
So we're currently full with all of our slots and have a waiting list for both programs for PSH and the community
So
residential.
all 52 beds are full?
57 and the
57.
10, so 67, yes. And then if any point during the referral process where you're no longer meet the HUD definition, then you would be not qualified for the program. So does that answer the question?
Yes. So just make sure I could fall backwards and now I have to start over. So we're talking about an 18 to 24-month process in some cases to get somebody back on their feet. Just, we had a question about that, Brad Roach. I want to make sure that was clear to everybody.
Yes,
About it.
okay. Thank you, ladies very much for what you do for our community and for the homeless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for having us. Thanks.
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, I'm going to introduce Ms. Caitlin Riggins. She's been with Oath. She's the Oath, she'll give you your title, but she's been with Oath for about 2 weeks, so she's nervous, but she's going to explain a little bit about what Oath does and make sure that you all know who she is.
Okay, so my name is Caitlin Riggins. I'm the Hope Coordinator at Oath Recovery. I'm committed to supporting individuals experiencing homelessness, substance use challenges, and other barriers to stability. In my role, I help connect individuals and families with resources, recovery support, education, and services that promote stability and independence. Those services look like individualized recovery coaching, recovery meetings, one being the Smart Recovery meeting. We meet every Monday at 6 at the Ware County Library. We're in partnership with Unison, and we have a healthcare navigator who comes to do on-site screenings and referrals for treatment, as well as overdose prevention and harm reduction is what we do in office. And then we feed approximately 65 people Monday through Friday, and, we do encourage community volunteers to sign up for Meal Train, which provides our clients with a meal. We also provide them with hygiene and basic needs, such as well as individualized housing stability. So,
Any questions? Well, thank you so much also for what you do, and y'all collaborate together to reach the needs of the homeless. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Our next speaker is Mr. Lennox Holder. He is also a member of our Mayor's Youth Council, but also this summer, Lennox spent time in the engineering department as an intern, and I thought it'd be beneficial for the commission and community to hear some of the things from Lennox that he experienced during that internship. So he's gonna take a few minutes. He has a PowerPoint. Let me get it up real quick. Mr. Holder. Fix that.
Good evening, everyone. I am Mr. Lennox Holder, and I interned here at the Waycross Engineering Department. And before I start with my experience, I want to tell you more about myself. I was a member of the Washington Youth Tour, which is a leadership experience for students in the whole country. I was one of 115 students that went from Georgia, where we networked and we discussed topics of interest while learning about the history of our nation and while touring the Capitol. I'm also the vice president at our Technology Student Association here at Ware County, so I kind of fulfill my interest of engineering there. And as mentioned, I'm part of the Mayor's Youth Council. I'm involved in the community. I spoke at the Black History Month celebration and at the Mayor's Address of the City. So before I go into my internship experience, I want to talk about the process I took to inform you about. It's 3 steps. First, we have the geographical information system where I got a geographical understanding of construction sites by having Mr. Eric guide me through the technology, and I kind of learned about where a job site would be in relation to our city. If a contractor can only work on one job site in a specific area and can't go to the next, that is because of trains and because of the challenge of managing equipment over tracks. So I kind of gained that understanding by looking through the geographical information system. Next, I reviewed civil plans. I learned about utilities, about gas pipes, about drainage systems and erosion control, and understood that these things would need permits. So that's how reading a civil plan benefited my experience there by understanding how that goes in hand with permitting. Additionally, I went with Mr. Gary, showed me how to validate plans and proofread them, because it is an important step for our city to know that we can trust these plans. So we have somebody in the engineering department proofread them and make sure that the engineer that designed it went with the regulations. So I thought it was really interesting to understand that we have somebody that checks every plan before it goes and impacts our city by being built. Then I visited construction sites. So the last step of this process, from knowing the geographical location to looking at the plans, was to see the work in real time. So we kind of inspected the work of contractors, if they put up their silt fences, if they place their construction exits in the right spot. And I learned that there has to be communication between the city and the contractors, because not always do these contractors follow the plans. So that is where the engineering department ensures that. I was out with Mr. Steve and there was a leak and we had to find a valve. And because the contractor didn't have time to do that, the engineering department took matters into their own hands, and we went and located the valve with a metal detector because it was not in the plans. So for me, it was neat to see that we don't just oversee things, but in that case, we also went into action. And additionally, I learned about equipment like a metal detector, like the soil cement mix that is under the asphalt. Furthermore, I communicated in the office space. Before we went out to look at construction sites, we had to be up to date with the contractors and information from the city. So I listened to Ms. Dawn and Mr. Steve talk about topics and information that needs to be heard before going out. Also, part of it was I needed to manage my time wisely. If I wanted to go out and see something but I had notes to take from the previous day, I had to make sure that I get those notes done before we went out. That goes in hand with staying accountable. Additionally, we had to respond to bystanders. We had an example where a lady approached us and said that she didn't like her road being paved because it increased her property taxes. So our job was to ensure that we're doing a positive thing as the city by making the commute to her house easier and making her road more reliable, especially in times of rain. So we tried to come across as more positive and show the benefit of this project. So all these things I learned during my internship showed me the facets and layers of the engineering department, that we are hands-on, that we do have to plan and communicate, and that we have to respond to bystanders. So that was my experience. I was really thankful that I had this opportunity here at the city, and if there are any questions, please ask. I'm happy to answer.
So we will look to the commission. If you have any questions, we'll start with District 1. District 2.
Well, I would just like to applaud Mr. Lennox, am I correct,
Yes, sir, that's correct.
for participating in the program. And my question to you is, did you see anything did you have any recommendations to make things better?
Yes, I think even though it's hard, but a structured approach, like kind of I know things change frequently at the city, but giving kind of like a timeline and certain projects that are being built or that are happening right now, it would be good to see like a informational packet on that to kind of prepare to what you will see. So that's something that could benefit, like a structural packet of projects in the city and things that one as an intern could experience.
Thank you.
Very good. And District 3.
My question will be more along the lines of, based on your experience with the Mayor's Youth Council, our internship, do you think we provided you an opportunity as a young man or young citizen to want to stay within our community? We have a lot of young individuals who get educated and they go off, but we need to retain our talent within our community. So any pointers on that?
Yes, absolutely. I would like to come back. I did notice that a lot of the people there have experience that is needed in the city, experience in construction that kind of gives an alternative approach. So me as a student, I think that if I would jump right into working for the city, that I would really have to have a mentor that could guide me through it, because I do not bring that experience. But I do see myself coming here if I gain that, or if I'm being mentored by somebody that can give me that experience.
Thank you.
Very good. And thank you, Commissioner.
No questions.
And District 5.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
I want you to come back.
Thank you.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
And Lennox, I just want to finally say thank you for serving on our Mayor's Youth Council.
Yes,
and
sir.
also for the internship. We're very grateful for the work you have done, and thank you for the positive attitude you have created.
Thank you.
Continue doing what you're doing.
Thank you for this opportunity. I wish all of you a wonderful evening, and I hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Mayor, pass the gavel back to you.
So I want to thank Mr. William Simmons, our Mayor Pro Tem, for taking the meeting forward and then giving it back to me, and I'm giving it back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm gonna make one more change, Mr. Mayor. We're gonna let the tax commission go ahead and speak. He's got a tight schedule as well.
Very good.
And then we'll move back to the actual discussion items with bids.
Sounds good.
They have this stuff in their packet.
They don't, but
Okay. I'm here to, I sent over the millage rate, rollback rate on Tuesday. The rollback rate for the city dropped to 8.439 from 8.555. There's a sense of urgency this year because the state is giving the HCRG grant. They're paying the first $18,000 of every homesteaded property. And the thing is, they have only allotted $844 million, and that's not enough to cover everybody in the states. I mean, so what they said was it's going to be a first come, first serve. And by law, I have to show that them paying $18,000 off everybody's tax bills that's homesteaded in the county for the school system and for the city of Waycross. And I'm trying to do my best to get that grant, to make sure we one of the first ones, because they're not going to, they said they're not going, don't know if they're going to have enough money or if they're going to put money into the pot. later if they run, when they run out. It's not if they run out, it's when they run out. So, I sent over the, rollback rate, and I sent over the 5-year history, and the city of Waycross is gonna gain $779,000, I think, roughly dollars, and most of that is from new construction and new stuff. It's from new businesses, new growth, houses that were homestead before that was sold to somebody else. When you're frozen at a value in 2007, and you sell your house, now the house is going to be valued what it is in 2026, and be taxed on that instead of what it was in 2007. So that's where the growth's going to be, and it's not a tax increase. But I'm recommending do the rollback rate, and I believe, I don't know if Rayford wants the city manager wants to speak more on it, but that the time frame is imperative this year. We're getting the millage rates adopted.
Couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
The first one is, what is needed from the city in order for us to maximize this opportunity to be recipients of the funding that was limited?
Well, what happened is you advertise. Y'all decided whether or not you're going to have to do the rollback rate. If you're going to do the rollback rate, you can advertise in the paper, and have the meeting the following Wednesday, and immediately after having that hearing, then you adopt it and get the resolution and get it back to me, and it'll be a quicker turnaround. And from what I understand was, y'all going to advertise in the paper. Y'all can advertise in the paper tomorrow, Wednesday. But that's going to be totally up to y'all. The school system and the county, they're advertising this Wednesday, and they're holding their meetings. The school's holding their meeting next Wednesday. The county's holding theirs next Thursday. That way they can adopt the school's millage rate too. So it's just imperative that the sooner I can get it and get the tax bill, the sooner I can put in for the grant.
So what the second question, which is my follow-up, is what is our deadline? And I know you're saying do it quickly.
Last week.
Yeah. Last week. That sounds familiar.
No, honestly, if we can have it done, if we can have the hearing done next week, and then after that I can get the paperwork, and that'll give me a week's time to get the grant done and submitted to the state. And that's also during the time frame the tax bills will be being printed out and be mailed out to the citizens. And that will give them more than 60 days. The law requires me to give them 60 days to pay by November 15th. And I always want to try to get it out sooner. But this will help them get it out even quicker. And the big thing for the city and for the county and for school, if we do not get that grant money, each governing authority is going to be short that money because it's mandatory. I got to give them that discount on the tax bill. So for the city of Waycross, the citizen, or I think it's like $151 will come off just off the city's portion of the homestead. Altogether, the county and the schools roughly $500, so that's about $650. A homesteaded Waycross citizen will have their tax bill reduced. And there'll be a lot of them not even getting a tax bill because it'll be zeroed out.
So I'm going to open the floor for questions from the districts. And we'll start with District 1, if you have any questions. And District 2.
No, sir, I understand what you're saying.
And District 3.
No, sir.
District 4.
No, sir.
And District 5.
Yes, sir. When is the start for the application of the grant?
Just as soon as I get the tax bills and I get my digest approved.
So that's That's a deadline that's open to all the state people that's going to jump in at the same time?
Statewide.
Okay,
Statewide.
so speaking hypothetically, just hypothetically, if the county doesn't approve that and we do and the school board does, how would that affect you moving with the application?
Say that again?
If one entity does not go for that rollback and others do, how would that affect?
How that would affect,
The whole
that would delay the process. And so you will have to advertise for a tax increase. You're gonna have to hold 3 public hearings. You gotta advertise seven days, then you can hold 2 meetings, then you advertise another 7 days, then you can hold your 3rd meeting for the tax increase. Then you're gonna adopt the millage rate. So that's gonna set everything back almost 3 weeks before I can even get my tax digest approved and get a collection order from the state.
Okay, I understand now.
Yeah, they're all, and let me say, they're already doing their rollbacks.
Okay,
Everybody's, the county and the school, they're gonna do the rollbacks.
okay. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. So, Mr. Mayor, just for clarification, we did go ahead and put in for the newspapers for that schedule. I think Director Smith did, so that's good. I just assumed we was gonna roll the millage rate back as well, so I had that form you need to sign. So we should be on we should be on schedule to catch up everybody else. So that's what. Okay. Next, Mr. Mayor, we'll go ahead to discussion items. Before I say that, let me just talk about the unhoused presentation and then our great potential city engineer in the future. So with the beds, if you add the 52 or the 67 beds, plus you got about 60 to 100 beds through the oath that can be used through oath and other agencies that support the unhoused residents. Right now, all those beds are filled too in this state, and so then you have to lean on the churches. You know, we only have technically 2 churches that provide living quarters for unhoused individuals. However, if an individual takes advantage of that, that would exclude them from the confirmed program they just mentioned. So that's why we kind of stay away from that. So again, just for the general public knowledge, you are talking about almost 2-year process to get somebody who gets off the train, who falls down, who has whatever, to get them in a better situation. And right now I don't have the total number on my head, but we do have quite a few people waiting on beds at this time as far as unhoused. And you also have to count in the children that time out. They turn 18 and they time out from the foster care program, but they have to go into that as well. So it's a big deal right now. And again, this is a nation problem. It really ticked up this year. They lost a lot of finances, support all those agencies. So I hope that gets better in the near future. But I wanted to make sure everybody's kind of aware of what's going on behind the scenes with this, and that's why it's critical that if anybody wants to volunteer, I mean, in any capacity, we need the volunteers because it's like only a few people doing that heavy rowing for that important resource in our community. So with that, Mr. Mayor, we'll go ahead and move into the discussion items. We're going to have start with the bids by Procurement Officer Ms. Jackson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Purchasing has 2 items before you this evening. The first one is for surplus property. There were several items from Public Works and Community Improvement that are far past their usefulness, over 20 years old. There was a 0-turn mower, a street sweeper, a UTV, 5 legal filing cabinets, several miscellaneous computer and phone parts, and a bus. We're asking that all of these items be declared surplus so that we can either sell them on Gov Deals or scrap them for metal or dispose of them.
Mower, sweeper, filing cabinet, phone parts, and a bus. Okay. So I'll look at the districts. We start with District 1. Consenting. District 2,
Yes, sir.
consenting. District 3,
Yes, sir.
consenting. District 4,
Yes, sir.
consenting. And District 5,
Yes, sir.
consenting. You have all 5 commissioners consenting to surplus those property items.
Thank you. The second item is a bid for engineering services. This particular bid was for a CDBG or Community Development Block Grant with disaster recovery specialty on it. We received a total of 4 bids, and after review of these 4 proposals, the best proposal came from TR Long Engineering of Hinesville, Georgia, at a proposed rate of 9% of the total construction cost, and we are asking that the commission approve this so that we can move forward with applying for the CDBG grant.
And you say there's TR Loans?
TR Long, yes, sir.
Engineering, Hinesville. Okay, very good. So we'll look to the commission, starting with District 1. District 1 consents. District 2?
Yes, sir.
District 2 consents. District 3?
Yes, sir.
District 3 consents. District 4?
I just have one question. And looking at this, TR Long is 9% of the construction cost and engineering, and then 3% of construction cost. Is that a total of 11%?
Yes.
And they still beat out ESG by 0.25% based on that high interest or that percentage.
Looking at everything overall, and we did 3 separate scoring, they came out a little bit higher than them overall.
Okay. My only concern is the percentages, 11% versus 8%. So that was my only question. So, all right, thank you.
Are you consenting?
Yes.
District 4 consenting, and District 5?
Yes.
And District 5 consenting. Madam Procurement Officer, you have all 5 consenting?
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, for some further clarification on that, they were best in 2 other categories, and we decided to go this way because our engineers, which have been in from are working on other areas right now, and to move faster, we had to have somebody else come and do this. We can't have one firm doing everything. I have been trying to reach out to get more firms to come in here and do work, because the one thing that's slowing us down, definitely for streets and roads, is we only have 2 people that normally do the work. So the commission has asked me to reach out like that and try to get other companies to come in here and do business. So that's what we're trying to do, just to pick up the workload. All right.
Understood.
Next, Mr. Mayor, we're going to have a presentation by the bids director. He's going to be discussing the hotel motel tax increase. We talked about this last year. He's going to go into further explanation. I think he's clearly with the board on why we need to do this.
Mayor, Commissioners, the WCBB Board has discussed this. We met with the hotel owners to get their consent, although it's not needed. We have to have a resolution from the commission that goes to the General Assembly to pass this. So currently, our hotel motel tax is 5%, 5 cents. 60 of that goes into the general fund, 40 goes to advertising and promotion of events in Waycross, Ware County to promote tourism. And we're currently doing that. The max the state will allow is 8 cents. We're asking to go to 6, which will give an additional penny. Just one note, that additional penny has to go towards tourism. So you still get the 60% of the 5, but that 1 cent, all of that goes towards tourism. And it can be used for infrastructure, buildings, things like that. And one of the things we want to do is next door, downtown, is take the old detective's office and turn it into a true visitor center. So we'd have a visitor center to where visitors come in. They don't have to come in and, get lost in the city hall with all the different things going on. They can truly come in and see the events that are going on. We're incorporating art displays, display local art. During Swamp Fest, it would be open. During First Fridays, it would be open. We would move staff down there to where they would be there to really give visitors a guide to what's going on in Waycross and Ware County. And you're all aware that the Okefenokee Swamp is now a World Heritage Site, so that would play very well into that. Based on what we collected last year, and I think it was on the previous side, we collected a little over $700,000. If we would have had that extra 1 penny, we would have gotten an additional $140,000, which will take care of majority of the renovations and also the upkeep going forward. So it won't be a burden on the city. It all come from the WCBB board members. And all board members are in favor of that. A little bit of information too, because some of you may be wondering about local communities. So Jessup is at 8%, that's the max. Fitzgerald's at 8, Alma's at 7, Valdosta's at 7. So us going to 6 is kind of within the realm of some of our other larger communities that has multiple hotels like we have. So it's not out of the norm for us to go up to 6. And again, this tax is only paid by people who stay at the hotels. It's not a tax to the local citizens unless they're staying at the hotel. But just like you go anywhere, there's all those taxes. So it's just the same as that. But those hotel owners collect it and they bring that to the city. And any questions?
I'll open the floor for questions. District 1. District 2.
No, sir.
District 3.
No, sir.
District 4.
No, sir.
And District 5.
No, sir.
All right.
No questions.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, it's gonna need a resolution.
So we need a resolution? Okay. So with that, the board, if you would raise your hand, if you would consent, please let me know. All 5 have consented for a resolution.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Mayor, next we're gonna have the fire chief, discuss MOU, but just for a further point, we have been talking to the directors and the team. This also leads into us, using our vacant buildings here in the city so they don't become run down. So we are trying to figure out creative ways to get rid of some of these buildings before they get to the point that we can't save them. So this was a great idea by the BS director, find this location, because it would be beneficial, with the swamp, getting all that new, traffic they're gonna get here in the next couple of years. So that's why we're trying to do that. With that, Mr. Mayor, we're gonna move over to, well, maybe not. Yes, the MOU for the fire chief, and Chief Blackburn will update you on that.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. About a month ago, I was contacted by Ms. Donna Solomon with the school system. She's over safety operations, and the school system is in the process of updating their emergency operations plan. And she has asked that they use one of our fire stations as a reunification center and a potential evacuation center should an event happen at a school, an emergency event happen at one of the schools. The only station we have that would meet their needs would be the Station 1 out on Mary Street by Coastal Pines Community College. So that's a MOU that she sent over to just get that agreement with the city and the fire department and the school system. But it would only be used for, reunification purposes and possibly an evacuation shelter should they have an event that they need to move students off of the campus. So the schools that they're looking at would be Ware County, Ruskin, and Wasboro would be the closest ones to Fire Station 1. So
3 schools and 2 objectives. The 3 schools are Ware County, Ruskin, and Waresboro.
Yes, sir.
And then you mentioned the 2 objectives would be reunification and evacuation.
Yes, sir.
All right, and you just need consent so it can go on as a resolution for MOU.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll start with District 1.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
It's just MOU that you can sign, I mean, you can get consent.
Oh, so I need to let them consent, then I sign.
Right.
Gotcha. We'll start with 1. And District 2.
Yes, sir.
And District 3.
Yes, sir.
District 4.
Yes, sir.
And District 5.
Yes, sir.
We have all 5 consenting,
Thank
and
you.
I'll be glad to sign the MOU.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And Mr. Mayor, I want to highlight the Chief. I think we have all our positions filled now. Or can I say that? Do we have all our positions filled? Or I can't say that.
Start August 13th.
Okay. Yeah. So we got all the positions filled.
Congratulations. That's good.
You know, it's a long, hot, I guess,
Yeah, it is.
fall leading to summer this time. So some of our fire personnel they had to take a little break, but got team built back up. So that's a great thing.
Can I speak on that?
Yes, you can.
Hey, just one thing since you brought it up about, we just went through the hiring process. We started the first week of July, opening up some applications. We had a young man that resigned, so we had 4. I've been at the fire department going on 36 years. Had 20 applications in a week. We had 15 tests. We had 11 come interview. of some of the most qualified people I've ever seen coming to the doors wanting to get into the fire department. We had kids that just graduated that were honor students, Beta Club. Some of them had already got their EMT level. I was just totally blown away. Got a Marine who's also got a bachelor's degree in biology, wants to stay home, wants to be a firefighter. I just very impressed with what's happening right now at the fire department and with some of our young people. So it's a good thing.
Yes, sir. Great job. Great report. Great report.
Well, that would mean that pause. So one thing I forgot to mention too, once our mayor youth council member there in 4 years, hoping to bring it back as a city engineer. So that is the plan. And I want to thank the business for that. So even if I'm not here at that time frame, the city manager behind me will be thankful that he got an in-house city engineer. So that's what we're trying to do. So we'll see if once he goes to college what happens, but hopefully he comes back. All right, Mr. Mayor, next we're going to move into the Waycross Ware County Development Authority. This is a operations discussion requested by the commission. I have a few slides. I know it's more of a some guidance from the commission to myself, but I'll do the slides first, and then I'll wait for guidance after that, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
So like many things, Mr. Mayor, in long-standing partnerships and relationships, you experience challenges in aligning priorities and expectations. But as you gentlemen do and I do, we believe the future of Waycross and Ware County is far more important than any differences of the past. Of course, our residents expect us to work together, and I believe we got an opportunity to strengthen that partnership so we all benefit, and as well as the entire community. So this is kind of my recommendation, getting some guidance and feedback from some of the commissioners, but I'm going to present to the entire commission body and get recommendations. So we're looking to strengthen our relationship with the Waycross Ware County Development Authority, strategic priority by improving communications, foster better collaboration, and establishing shared accountability. Of course, by working together, we will clear expectations and common goals. We can better position Waycross and Ware County for long-term economic growth and success. Some of the items I'm going to mention here. So we do want to hold an annual joint strategic planning session involving the city commission, the county commission, development authority, education partners, and other key stakeholders to establish shared priorities, measurable goals, and coordinated economic development strategies. This is the first thing I'm asking us to do. We have many joint meetings, and it's not me throwing stones at anybody, but they have not been effective simply because some of the timing and the participation. And this is one of the areas that we definitely got to improve on. Ideally, we would like to schedule this around one of our retreats. Going to get with the county manager just to see how he sees this. But definitely want to do that to make sure that we are aligned on what we're trying to do. Because quite frankly, we're not aligned. It's not a bad thing because everybody is rowing in the boat, just rowing separate ways. A lot of cases, and the boat ain't going nowhere sometimes. Schedule quarterly coordination meetings between the city leadership and development authority. I know you sit the board, Mr. Mayor, but I do think just so we all understand what's going on, that we need probably every quarter have better updates on, business recruitment, infrastructure needs, redevelopment opportunities, all those things, and we need to sign NDAs or any type of documents because of whatever reason we can do that. But I think for us to move forward, we have to better understand the goals and direction that we're trying to go with development, and then of course, develop a shared economic development work plan, I think, which the president of the Development Authority already has. But just make sure we understand the organizational roles, responsibilities, priorities, and then again, measurable performance objectives from everybody. So I will take my lead from Jason on that. I think he has a plan already. Just make sure they can align with the objectives of the city and our priorities. And then, probably in January from now on, adopt a joint economic development vision that establishes common priorities for the next 3 to 5 years with the new commissions to come on board. And that way we just all got something just like an actual document, a written document, and it's voted on. And then this is important, coordinate infrastructure planning with economic development initiative to ensure roads, utilities, drainage, broadband, public improvement, support future commercial and industrial growth. So one hiccup that we're having, I just don't know what we're trying to do in some cases down there, but I don't want to be a hindrance to that. So I'm gonna ask the Development Authority that we have better coordination because we wanna make sure that we are making ourselves available for new businesses. But to do that, I gotta kind of know what's going on, definitely as far as the water and sewer. So I'm gonna sit down with Jason on that and just clear the air on that and make sure whatever he's trying to do, whatever industry's coming in, that we can sustain that moving forward. And again, this kind of leads to communication again, just make sure we're providing regular updates on business recruitments and industry support. Because again, we have a lot going on. I know some of you have been contacted directly by potential investors, and you know, we got so much going on that we can pass each other in the middle of the night on some things, and you know, we got to make sure that's aligned as best we can. And then again, you know, just the annual presentation goes back to that previous statement. And then this kind of establish what the performance measures are for success. Is it the jobs? Is it the workforce development? Is it the redevelopment? Whatever it is, make sure we have that prioritized so the city can better support it. So we got to understand what that is or what it should be. And that would definitely be the shared vision of the commission, how they want to see things that I take to that team, and they would kind of go from there. And then wherever appropriate, recognize major business announcements jointly so prospective investors can see a unified partnership committed to the success of Waycross and Ware County. Right now, and it's not trying to be petty anyway. It's just trying to be, like I said, we want to present a unified team. But we got a lot of stuff going on with who's there for ribbon cuttings, who's there for, you know, groundbreakers or anything. I'm going to reach out to the rest of the business community because that needs to be a joint effort between everybody, between the city, between the county, between the Development Authority, between the Commerce, between the Downtown Development Authority. We all got to be synced on that, you know, so we can better align how we support each other versus what we got going on right now. And this is throwing stones to anybody. It's just, you know, that reality check that we all rolling very, very hard right now in many directions. And although it's bringing a lot of business, as you heard, the tax commissioner state, all those new properties going up, that's going to bring in revenue. And we got other new properties scheduled to go up. So we're doing very well in that. But we probably could do a little bit more if we always kind of better align. Again, taking direction from some of the commissioners, Development Authority's primary funding partners, which we are, we should definitely receive regular updates on core initiatives, measurable results. And likewise, the city should continue to share information regarding infrastructure improvements, capital projects, permitting activity, redevelopment efforts, housing initiatives, and other investments that directly support economic growth. You heard the new potential one-day city engineer state about the planning packet. He doesn't know we have planning packets, but I was when he said that earlier, I was just thinking somehow that's got to be visible to the public. Because even a planning packet doesn't have to have a name on it of the business industry, but it does signify something's being done. And too often nobody knows. And I know it's frustrating with our residents. They can't see some of the things you know, the Development Authority know, and some of our other strategic business partners. So for them to have that truth and that reality, they got to see something sometimes. Right now, you know, a lot of them are, you know, calling those phone numbers they see on signs trying to get information. That new development called 912 or whatever it is, and sometimes that can hinder progress. So I think if we had like he said, a better defined, you know, plans so everybody can see it, that would go a long way. And that, again, that would make our partnerships more seamless and productive with our other business and our other coordinators on our economic development team. Again, success is not measured by which organization receives credit, but by the opportunities we create for our residents. The businesses we attract and retain, the jobs that we help generate, the private investment we encourage, and the strong community we build together. And I will stay on this right here. You know, I see a lot of negative feedback on the business we're having right now, but if you was to sit down in every new development, every brick and mortar building going up right now, that's going to amount to about 600 jobs. Now, I know some people's might see that negative way, but that any 1+ job added is better than no jobs or going backwards. So even like when I say brick and mortar, you know, on the corner of Ozzie Davis, the 4 projects there right now on Memorial, and then we have a few other projects in other places in the city. That's about 600 jobs, which is great for our community. Are they careers? Yes, in some capacity. You can make a career out of some jobs. You got to work a little bit longer, a little bit harder, but it can't happen for you. So Make that clear. And again, I just want to get the commissioner's support on this direction, and I'm going to, my office is going to work directly with the Development Authority, county leadership, and some of our community partners to just be having a stronger working relationship, better communications, transparency, mutual respect, and measurable results. And of course, we believe the community deserves nothing less. I'm doing this based off of several hard learning lessons. Excuse me. I know some comments were made that we lost industries for various reasons. So again, I think had we been synced and we was a little bit tighter, you know, that probably would have been done. I'm not sure why we lost them. I still don't know who was coming, who was going. But better coordination, better support, better communication will ensure that it never happens again. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to pause. I went kind of fast, but I know I've spoken to many of the commissioners on this already, and they wanted to put it in writing, which I'll make a formal written MOU what we're going to do with the Development Authority once I sit down and talk to Jason, and I'll bring that back to the commission. So I don't need a decision today on anything. I just want to see if this is the guidance that I'm giving and I'm going in the right direction.
Well, I'll open the floor to the districts just so they may make comments and if there were some upgrades on thoughts that they may have had. We'll start with District 1. Okay. District 2.
Well, I just think it's a great step forward that we try to become unified, working together so everyone understands what everybody is doing. So, as you say, roll the same way. Thank you.
I also agree with collaboration, but I do want the commission to consider any tools that's available. The Waycross Ware County Development Authority, they focus on both city and county. If we have an opportunity to create an authority that just focuses on the needs of the city, I want us to consider that. Weigh the options and not necessarily to compete with what our existing partners, but to add additional resources so that citizens can see benefits. And that's what they're asking for. The citizens want new jobs, and when they don't see it happen, we get blamed for it. But understanding each partner role can better help us address that. But I do want us to consider a local or a authority that just focuses on city needs.
Thank you. District 4.
Was the Development Authority invited to today's meeting?
No, this is strictly for guidance for me.
Okay. So we talk about collaboration and annual presentation. Not this year, but in 2025, the Development Authority made a presentation to the city retreat. Why was that done? Why was it not done this year? Because that could have been their annual presentation as well. So we talk about collaboration. That's also a two-way street. They're a major partner, but also keep in mind, Commissioner Sanders, that the Development Authority is the constitutional authority set by the state. So if we try to set a city development authority, we're overstepping our bounds in that. So I disagree with that. I believe we need to fully work with the Development Authority, not just that, but the Downtown Development Authority as well, rather than trying to, be the focus of us being job creators. That's not our job. Our job is to manage the city and make sure that the infrastructure of the citizens are taken care of. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. If I can, Mr. Mayor, I will say that that's important on the invites. So that's critical. We invite each other to stuff. We can go down that road if we need to, but that applies to everybody.
And District 5.
Yes, I'm not going to exaggerate, but I've had concerns because we are held accountable to the citizens when they come to us and ask us about job creations. And we don't have a clue as to how to respond because we haven't been updated. My concern is the process. I have no qualms about where it is now, but we're not overstepping if we create our own authority. That's not illegal. We have an option, but I'm not saying we're going there. I'm not proposing we're going there. I'm saying it's not an overreach, because we have an obligation to our citizens as well. So if I'm approached by a citizen, I need to know what's coming in, what's about to come in, who's working on what, when, and how. I don't want to go around looking ill-informed because we were not informed. That's my main and only concern. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like I said, Mr. Mayor, this shouldn't be but a couple of conversations we're going to have. And it's not just the Ware County Development Authority. It's the other agencies too. Like I say, we're just trying, in my recommendation too, to get better synchronization. Like we mentioned about who comes to what, who gets invited to what, all those things. It should be a team collaboration, and I don't want to beat the horse here today, but we don't get invited to a lot of stuff for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I try to reach out to the rest of the general population when we have events that's that brings the community together. So, but I'll take some of this guidance today about mainly the information exchange and figure out how we can do a better job of that.
So I'm going to just say one brief thing. In every authority and every commission and every board that we have, you either have the mayor by virtue of office sitting in that meeting, and you also have individuals who can be chosen by this commission to sit on boards. The other side of that is, although we're saying they're not made aware, it may be that you want to have individuals who are on these boards make presentations to the commission,
yes,
giving updates as opposed to sounding as if there is no representation, because we do have representation on those boards. It's just that those persons are not afforded opportunities to share what they do know, because there are some NDAs that they've had to sign, and they cannot disclose information due to the fact that if it's known too early or something's made known without the person's approval, that's one of the reasons why some of those businesses that may have resigned from coming into the town did what they did. So I do understand the conversation that we are having here, but we do also have people representing on each one of those boards and development authorities.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next, Mr. Mayor, we're going to move into the animal management discussion. And with this, we had a lot of discussions. We had a meeting Saturday, I think the last couple hours, got some additional feedback from some of the residents. We're probably going to need to have a few more meetings after obtaining new information, new resources. And like I said, initially, we weren't planning to implement any changes into CY 2027, so calendar year 2027, which will be January. So we still will be building on to this strategy moving forward. So, and I want to read a few things. I don't want to read the slides all together, but the City of Waycross recognizes that effective animal management cannot be achieved by government alone. Our vision, this is the main thing, is to create an environment that encourages and supports responsible pet ownership through education, accountability, community partnerships, and humane animal management. It is not our goal to simply respond to stray animals, but to reduce the number entering the system each year by promoting responsible ownership, increasing unification of lost pets, and implementing humane strategies to reduce the feral cat population. This, Mr. Mayor, when I talk about these initiatives, when I say animals, I'm referring to all animals to include cats and dogs. I know some people have other pets. They may not be aware, so I'm talking about all animals. So one of the things that we've been talking about, and I think we've done some research, and you can't get away from it. Responsible pet ownership is the primary concern that we have. We have a lot of our, people who may not be able to have animals that get animals, and that's probably one of our biggest concerns, especially as they get more up in age. And we got to figure out how to manage that while still letting people have free choice. So some of that is training, and then really talking to our residents about getting animals that you might, or children getting parents' animals that they might cannot handle in the late stage of life. So one thing we want to do is a mandatory pet registration. Had some kickback from this right after the meeting. So I talked to the residents this morning about that, and again, registration is not for us to do anything but start accountability and ownership of the animals. This point blank. That's our first means of defense. That's the people doing the blocking and tackling, just to know where the animals are. So nothing more than that, nothing less. That should be a free service. That's not anything we're going to charge for. And again, any fees associated with anything I say tonight, that is not to get money for the city, but all these require sustainable funds to keep them going. Okay. Next will be microchipping of the registered pets. And what we have found out, and I don't have the exact percentages, but every animal that we picked up that was microchipped, we were probably 95% of the time able to return that animal to the owner. About 95% of the time. In some cases, the chip was old, and in some cases, the information, the resident has moved, or the animal had traveled from many cities away, which some of them do. They travel a long way in some cases. So the reason we're asking for chips is to increase the return to owner rates and reduce unnecessary shelter admissions. And I want to make that a point because overcrowding the shelters, you can get in trouble for that at the state level. Also, if we do seize animals that are injured, we want to have room for them. We also want to be able to take the animals off the street that are vicious dogs or vicious cats or any other vicious animal. But if we're taking every stray in, then those 75 pens we have, they get filled real quick. And right now they actually fill at this time to capacity. So again, the registration and the microchipping is just a way for us to identify our animals with the goal of returning the animal to the owner as soon as possible. Because the longer the animal stays out on the streets, first they could be killed, just hit by a car, many things. Then they can become vicious, and hurt other people and other animals. And then in those cases, they pretty much become unadoptable at that stage. Even if we secure the animal and put them in the shelter. So I want to make that point clear because that is going to be the foundation of our strategy moving forward. So do the commission have any questions on that? Because if we don't get this right, everything else doesn't really matter after this. Mm-hmm.
I hear you. Mm-hmm. We'll start with District 1. Any comments or questions?
Well, I mean, do you think this really is going to help? I mean, because mainly, you probably wind up getting the people that's really taking care of it all as far as I would say the people that keep the pets inside. Mm-hmm. That's probably the main people that you don't get, the animals are going to get chipped. Mm-hmm. So how about the stray dogs that we having a problem with now? They're still on the outside. How's that?
So the stray dogs belong to somebody at some point in time. Commissioner, we know this. A lot of people here just release dogs in the streets. I mean, so we know how that works here in the city. Not sure why they do it. In most cases, they can't no longer take care of the animals. They just release them to the rest of us. So I do think in that situation, well, first let me say this publicly. If you cannot maintain your animal, and I said this before, please just call the shelter. We'll figure out something, but don't release them in the street like this, We try to figure something out, especially if you just don't have the money anymore. Because a lot of we talked about this Saturday, they can no longer afford these animals. But that goes to the education piece about why'd you get it. But I do think it will be beneficial because the majority of the animals belong to somebody, and you can tell they belong to somebody based on their behaviors. Some of them do have cars on them, with names. So that somebody had that animal at some point in time. So I do think it helps with the stray population, the microchipping and the registration.
District 2.
No, sir.
District 3.
In discussing this with a lot of my constituents throughout the district, they was concerned when I suggested that we will have a catch and release type program because we don't have room. And I pointed out that if we get them spayed and neutered, that they won't have litters.
Yes.
So that helps to prevent it. They didn't understand that if you're gonna catch a dog, why you gonna release the dog? We don't wanna have to end their life or whatever, for lack of better words. But in explaining it to the constituents, a lot of them is in agreement, regardless if they understand it is gonna be a little bit more responsibility on them. But It's going over well in District 3. That's it.
And District 4.
I'll restate my original statement I made many, many months ago. Responsible pet owners are not going to be the problem with this program. The program's going to be, specifically in my district, and you even talked about the feral cat colonies. Once we spay and neuter them, that's great, that's wonderful, they won't reproduce. But if we release them to the location on Memorial Drive where there's 80 feral cats now, that'll still be 80 feral cats. I realize cats are not as adoptable as dogs. Most people don't like cats, and that was a big challenge on Saturday. A lot of people said they did not like them. So while I agree it fixes one problem, it still doesn't fix the overwhelming problem in that if we can adopt out these cats instead of returning them to the colony they came from, that would be wonderful. But I still think we've got a lot of things that we need to work out. It's still a learning process. One thing we had discussed Saturday is possibly someone had approached about bringing a humane society back into the city and county, which I think would be a good thing because we're not equipped to be a humane society or dog catchers or an adoption agency. That's really outside our purview. So I think that was something that we definitely need to look into. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner. District 5.
No, sir, I don't have anything.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Commissioner. And again, these are the three foundational steps that I feel like we got to do. And as Commissioner Thompson kind of talked about, these are the rest of the steps that we kind of mentioned that we're going to look into doing. And again, the registration is probably going to be free. And in some cases, the microchipping might be able to be free. And in some cases, the spray and neuter might be able to be free. I did reach out to some of the companies that were recommended to me by some of the residents this morning. I looked at some other states as well that have, more veterinarians than we do. Even going as far as North Carolina and as far as Mississippi, and of course Jacksonville and Florida. And also reached out to some of the local veterinarians here. And I will say this, of course, the veterinarians, like everybody, they're struggling right now because of inflation. So they're capped out too. So it's going to be hard to get a small veterinarian to do anything for free. Now, we willing to take the animals and drive them somewhere else. That might be a possibility. But like locally, it's going to be hard to do that. And then again, even with all the spraying and the microchipping, we're going to need some volunteers. Because I want to make this clear too. I know we keep saying that responsible pet owners ain't the problem, but again, we got a lot of older people that the animals get out all the time. So I don't know. We got to really define what responsible ownership is, because that's the main problem too. And the reason I want to again the microchipping, because the more open the shelter is, the more we can take those cats in. If we got all the animals returning like we're supposed to, we can identify them, because the cats will become probably dominant in the shelter if we had more room for them. So with that, on the trap neuter and return program, I went back and looked at our calendar dates, and I think Mark is still in here. We haven't done one of these, like a large one, in quite some time. We are looking to do one in September with the areas that we've identified, well, some of the areas we've identified, hopefully with some community support. From some of the veterinarians I talked to in Jacksonville that might assist us with the feral cat colonies. If that's able to happen, like I said, we're going to go in there and do that. Now, that's going to reduce the cat population over time. We mentioned the 80 cats in Cherokee, and I think we got like 80 more Memorial. But if we could cure those populations in about 4 years, they wouldn't breed anymore. And some of those cats were actually old too. And there's ways to make sure we ain't just run behind the same cats. I think I sent y'all an email today where they clip the ears so you can see from afar if it's been neutered or spayed already. So we want to run around chasing all the cats. But it's something that we have to do. And then we will look more as far as the education piece to adopt our cats. I think people, because when they go to the shelter, they only do see dogs. So maybe something we got to do is educate the folks. We do have cats, or we can get cats. And we'll go down that way. And then it says create a community cat colony, register We've already kind of did that. We know where the 4 main colonies are right now. And right now I'm gonna get with the team and other resources and reach out to the community. And we're gonna take X amount of cages out here, and we gotta do it that day, because cats are very, very intelligent. And we gotta probably sit out there for a while and get them all. So again, I'm looking at September to knock that out, maybe hit 2 of those colonies as much as we can, and then maybe take some of those animals down to Jacksonville, which maybe they can adopt some of them, and then maybe some of the other states. But it's gonna require some traveling and a lot of volunteers, definitely with the traveling piece. So, and again, the shelter is for uniting lost pets with their owners, protecting public safety from dangerous animals. I think a lot of our residents don't know we have a shelter or the purpose of the shelter. It is not a humane center. It is not a forever home. It's not a permanent home. It's just temporary housing for those animals in those capacities. So that goes again to the education. Some of our residents know we had a shelter. So they would almost always call the police, who will never get there in time to catch a dog if you call the police. So we're gonna do better education on how that works if you see an animal running free without collar. And then the education outreach program, again, we do have to have a serious conversation about microchipping, vaccination, spray and neuter, responsible pet owners, because it's all our problem. It's not the city's problem to solve it by itself, and the city won't solve it by itself. But we've got to have more meetings and education about how big this problem is, and hopefully we get all of our residents to kind of start buying in to the solutions. I know even Saturday, and I think we had 3 meetings on Saturday. So the first meeting we had on Saturday, I had 4 people there, and they don't even live in Red Cross, but they did provide some recommendations on the community support. So like I say, if you really want to help fix things, then it's easy to call it a problem or be concerned, but we need commitment if we're going to fix these things. Then it says building a strong community with our regional partnerships. So again, like I called out to some of the organizations, and it is some procedures in place. And in some cases it is free if you can get the animals to them. And we're going to make our best effort once we sit down and look at our total numbers on what we can do. And that goes again to understand how many animals we have in the city. That's why registration and chipping is going to be the foundation to kind of jumpstart everything else. And these kind of performance measures, Mr. Mayor, district registration compliance, microchip participation, track our return to owner rates. That's something I need to be able to vocally state, because I think that is a big thing that we do when they are chipped, or they do have identification markers on them. Shelter intake and adoption rates, spray neuter participation, reduction in fertile cat colonies, animal-related complaints, which I'll cover when we talk about changes to the code department. And then again, we're going to make this more of a report. It says annual here, but we're probably going to make it quarterly until we get a sustained hit or significant improvement in the problem. And then we'll shape the policy as we go along each quarter. So, and again, I'm going to keep saying this, it's a community responsibility. And it's going to take a community responsibility to get it fixed. And then our approach will be education, registration, microchipping, spray and neuter, partnerships, data-driven decision-making, enforcement of repeat and willful violations. Right. And with that, Mr. Mayor, what I want to do moving forward, because as they asked Saturday, what's the first step in this? So as we kind of build a strategy for the microchipping and registration, we want to go ahead and try to approach some of the colonies with the cats. So again, I'm looking at September. We'll start putting information in here in the next couple of weeks, asking for volunteers, and we'll try our best to catch as many cats as we can, spay and neuter as many as we can, and then some will have to be released. If we can get some adopted, we will. And then once we do all that, we'll come back to the commission and kind of say, okay, after trying that and looking at the level of support that we had, maybe we got to change course. And I'll stop there for any recommendations or guidance, Mr. Mayor.
I'll look to the commission for any comments or questions they may have. We'll start with District 1. Okay, and then District 2.
No, sir, I'm good too.
Okay, and District 3.
No, Mr. Mayor.
District 4.
Not at this time.
And District 5.
No, Mr. Mayor.
Good.
All right. All right, Mr. Mayor, last discussion item. It's gonna be code enforcement, and again, Mr. Mayor, this is just the first of many updates on changing our code enforcement, so we will not cover every single request the commission made. I want to start at the main area, how we enforce codes, or who enforces code, how they enforce code, and then during each of the next meetings, we'll add a new item to this process, and hopefully by the October, we'll have covered everything involved with code enforcement, and then the commission can make a decision on the direction they want to go with our code enforcement. And the code enforcement meaning everything from animal management to blighted properties. All right. And again, just saying what code enforcement is: creating safer neighborhoods through strategic enforcement, modernization, and community partnerships. That's our vision. And I'm changing a little bit, Mr. Mayor, because we've had these discussions before. Right now, if you were to read our charter or our ordinances, you will see that our 4 code officers are pretty much responsible for every citizen in Waycross. When they cut the grass, how they cut the grass, where they park the car, where they park their boats, where they park their trailers, what color their house is, what kind of house they have, the tree limbs, the right-of-ways, the alleyways, the lights, and everything. And I don't know how we got here. We're one of the few cities that try to manage all of that, and it is humanly impossible. And it's kind of time that we pull some stuff back from our code team because it's not sustainable. And although I don't want to minimize the effort of our code office, they've done a great job. But in light of certain things that are happening in other cities, we've had code agents, people killed now, trying to do their duties on people's properties. And just the sheer amount of money and resources we're putting into this, where the results are not what we would desire. So we want to modernize our code enforcement program by focusing the limited resources we have that directly affect life, safety, public health, public right-of-ways, infrastructure, neighborhood stability, rather than attempting to address every property issue with the same level of enforcement. The city will prioritize conditions that create the greatest impact on residents overall, while using existing legal authorities to encourage responsible property ownership, neighborhood revitalization, and private investments. Our objective is to create an environment where responsible property owners become the community standard, and code enforcement serves as a tool to protect the public, not the primary mechanism for maintaining private property. All right, again, some of my policy recommendations, and this is mainly like for our code team: prioritize life, safety, public health, and infrastructure. So our code enforcement officers resources will be evaluations that present immediate threats to life, safety, public health, fire protection, environmental concerns, public right-of-ways, drainage systems, utilities, and other critical public infrastructures. The saying there: protect the public right-of-ways. This is our streets, sidewalks, intersections, drainage, stormwater systems, utility easements, and public access that impact the entire community. Transitions to a municipal citation system. Modernize our code enforcement by replacing lengthy court-driven processes that sometimes take up to 4 years to get someone to cut their grass, and turn it into a municipal citation system that encourages faster compliance while preserving due process through municipal courts. And I'll cover later on about the amount of court dates we have. I know it's going to be a question about the commission, and that's one of those things we've got to reach out to our court systems because they have to do more too with these things. So as part of this, I want to square code officers as municipal enforcement officers. This authorizes the code officer to be sworn to issue municipal citations directly from ordinance violations, improving response times, increasing accountability, and allowing officers to spend more time in the field addressing community standards. So basically, Mr. Mayor, I'm saying they should be able to write tickets. And then reserve court proceedings for blighted structures. Concentrate formal legal proceedings primarily on abandoned, dangerous, vacant, and blighted structures, requiring judicial intervention, allowing routine violations to be resolved through the citation process whenever appropriate. So right now, again, if you think about it, Mr. Mayor, we have one code officer, and as you know, y'all have the code reports. They are working with multiple violations. And again, it doesn't matter the way we're structured right now. It could be the grass is 12 inches or the house is falling apart. It's the same amount of time going through the court system, which is time consuming. And ultimately, when they go through the court system, as you heard by the judge extends their time as well sometimes. So you put 6 more months on a 2-year process already, and then that citizen might decide to cut the grass if they or pay the fine, and the grass still didn't get cut. And it's getting to the point I'm questioning what's the point of all that, because I've never been in a situation where we are in everybody's front yards. I just, it's difficult to gather. And I know y'all talk to other commissions in other cities. We on one of the rare cities that does this. I think we gotta find a way to incentivize our residents to take better care of their properties, some kind of way. To get that motivation back, get that desire for community excellence. We gotta figure that out too, which I will bring to you at another meeting. But that's probably the most important thing. How do we get residents to care about their community the way they want us to care about it? We got to figure that piece out. So, but again, I want to take away all those other things and allow our codes department to pull title searches and really go after these properties, because it is hard to get up every day, have to ride around the city, and then come back and try to do a title search. And you're doing this for years. And then you might get a victory about getting one case closed out, but you got 30 more of the same instance. All right, fully utilize existing blight and nuisance ordinances, and I'm gonna briefly touch on this. Of course, we want to always encourage voluntary compliance, but if we can't get that in the future, and I've been reluctant to do this because we know in some cases people don't have the money. That's a whole different conversation. But maybe we gotta move on past that and put these extra property liens on these properties when folks don't want to fix them. So I don't know, that'll be a whole different discussion, but we do have that in our charter to increase those, those liens, those taxes on a property. I know that's a hard pill to swallow for commissioners, because we do have those who cannot do for themselves, or don't have the funding. And as you know, we try our best to help those folks out when we can, but it is a lot of them, and I don't know what that solution is either. So that's what I'm trying to really prioritize right now, what we can actually do on a day-to-day basis. And then again, it says modernize our property management technology. What I want to do with that, and this is go through the business department. You heard the potential city engineer one day talk about our GIS system. I want to put all our properties in there so we can better track things. We do have some properties to nobody's fault. Not sure who paid taxes on them. We got a lot of properties that, we do all these things and get down to the end of it, and we find out it's a bank lien against it, it's a health department lien against it, it's a hospital lien against it, or the bank owns it now. And at that point, it's pretty much over us trying to get that property for those people. And we just don't have the time to keep going down this road in those situations. So when I want to look at put everything into the system, because I want to reach out, this goes back to the education piece, encourage folks to start doing these wheels. That we've got to start looking towards the future. These wills and these probates. Can't tell how many homes, this commission, most don't have wills, probates, or insurance, and that's killing us right now as far as getting anything resolved. So we've got to start educating our residents, especially our older residents. You got to start figuring out who you want to leave this property to, because if not, you're going to create a 15-year problem. In essence, it's going to be a 15-year problem. So we really need help from our residents on this. Again, hold the city accountable, but we need accountability from everybody. And I'm not trying to, I know I sound a little frustrated, but it's been 3 years of this, and way before I got here. And us just knocking down properties when the owners still own them, it just creating additional blight. Again, in that, I do want to change focus on our strategic approach to this. I know it's going to be difficult to hear, but I do want to prioritize on our commercial corridors and neighborhood gateways versus trying to go into every neighborhood and fix the houses. If you look at every entranceway into the city, if you look at Corridor Z, there are about 7 properties, that don't need decapitated, look horrible, and we got so many others that's going through the court we can't even get to them. You look at Ossie Davis. I think we got 6 properties on Ossie Davis that definitely, bring down the whole city. Plant, not so bad. I think we got 2 on Plant maybe. And then Memorial, we got some business owners that need to do better. But I think we probably need to start there, because those business owners we know they're there. We know we ain't got to reach all around the world trying to find them, and just pretty much try to put those through the court process and kind of maximize how it looks coming into Waycross. And then once we can clear that up, and that's going to be some years, even that approach, then moving to the cities. But I mean, moving to the neighborhoods. But with the neighborhoods, we don't stop. But we definitely got to better utilize the other agencies that deal with this stuff with blight. And then again, the voluntary compliance and community partnership. We got, again, the community got to want to do this too. I mean, apply for progressive enforcement for repeated violators. I know it's tough because again, we got Mrs. Jones, Social Security, can't do anything, and nobody wants to harm Ms. Jones. But the property is falling apart, and once it becomes a danger for Ms. Jones living there, then something got to be done at that point. If she has no family, if we can't get the church involved or whoever else, we gotta figure this out too with Ms. Jones. And this goes again to right now. This all on our 4 code enforcement agents out here every day trying to figure it out, getting cussed out at the houses and everything. That's why I went to the body cams. But I'm concerned about their safety in a lot of cases because they get chewed out a lot of times. But the direction we're going right now, we just can't go anymore because it's definitely not working. It's working, but you're talking about 100 years to catch up, which I know we don't have that much time. So, and then again, like I said, Mr. Mayor, I want to balance enforcement with the development incentives. Like I said, I want our co-agents to have specific and more narrow direction of what they're trying to fix. And then these big blighted problems, that'll be separate from everything else. But to do that, we got to get rid of some of our ordinances that don't really make sense. I use that boat trailer ordinance, some other ordinances we got out there that don't really, somehow they got through the system, and unfortunately, if a resident sees us in there, they expect us to enforce it. So if it's not affecting life, safe, healthy, infrastructure, right-of-ways, I want to move away from it. And then again, measures of success through community outcomes. If we can focus a little bit more on the stuff that's really dangerous versus just every single little thing, we might can get rid of that stuff a little bit faster. And then again, if we can get the community to really buy in, that'll help us out and move a little bit faster. And then, like I said, the goal is to protection of public infrastructure, redevelopment, rehabilitation, recovery of public abandoned costs, and increased collection. The last part is part of that measure. Says increased collection of liens and taxes associated with blighted properties for those that are willfully non-compliant. After we do everything we can, we definitely got to do that. Success should be measured by safer neighborhoods, stronger property values, improved quality of life, and increased community investment, not simply by the number of citations issued. So again, these citations right now in my mind, we sitting on $100 per citation, regardless of what it is. But it's not to make the city money. That's just going to cover some of the court fees when you get to court. But we got to do something to just get everybody to start trying to do all they can. Some folks can do more, some can do less, but everybody got to try to do better. City of Waycross has approximately 14,000 residents, and limited code enforcement personnel attempting to address every property issue with the same level of enforcement is neither practical nor sustainable. Instead, the city will focus its limited resources on protecting life, safety, public health, public right-of-ways, infrastructure, neighborhood stability, while making full use of legal tools already provided through the city ordinance or charter. So that's that, Mr. Mayor. My first step would be to go ahead and get the code enforcement agents sworn on, and then start working with the court system to move to a ticketed system with the commission's blessing, and then start bringing back to the commission, working with the community, some of the ordinance that we just can no longer, we don't have the ability to keep enforcing, not just enforcing, but the fact that we're spending, and you look at the cost on here, I think I sent y'all the cost over the last couple of years. We're talking millions, like a million and some change every year. And that's just court fees, letters, liens and stuff we don't get back, and that's coming out of our general fund in a lot of cases. So I got to start looking at what's really, not saying these concerns not important, But in an environment where our infrastructure is failing at a sustained rate, we got to really see where our money's going and where it makes practical sense. Again, not to jeopardize anything safe for our safety. That's what I'm saying. The code will still focus on all these things that are focused on safety. But to continue to go after the boat in the driveway, and it's taking 18 months for that process, it doesn't make economic sense anymore. So I apologize, Mr. Mayor. Again, this is just the first co-discussion that I would like to have with the commission and get some guidance. I definitely want to, if we don't want to do the ticket system, I definitely need to swear the code people in because they really don't have any enforcement powers at this time. That's the other piece of this, how we currently structured. And they working hard and they frustrated as well because it's, like I said, we want to go on to court. I want to say it's every quarter, maybe, that they have the court hearings for the black properties. And that's another whole discussion that we'll talk about another meeting. And then we're trying to squeeze all this stuff in at those hearings. So even the stuff that should be higher president doesn't get higher presidents because we're trying to squeeze everything in to that one court appearance. And I apologize, Mr. Mayor, for questions and concerns.
We'll start with District 1, asking the question, what is the guidance you'd like to give to the city manager regarding codes and ordinances?
Just make it fair, you know, just like you were saying about the grass or whatever. You know, everybody goes through something sometimes, like, you know, they might be out of town, might have sickness in the family. So I think sometimes instead of writing a person a letter, you know, we try to talk to them. You know, and see what the problem is, and then if something not moving in, then you know, you go forward with the legal system. I believe that, you know, that change.
I believe that too, Commissioner, and we do reach out, Commissioner. We reach out best we can, but using the yards, you know, you can drive down Carswell right now. I think it's 62 homes down Carswell, and nobody yard cut right now. I know it rained yesterday, so what do we do with that? I'm just making that as a, how can we really enforce that? I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. I know it's important to some people with how the grass is cut, but when I'm trying to fight to get resources and funding for everything else, and then we spend all this time, effort on stuff like that, it's not working no more. So, but I understand what you're saying. We do try to work with everybody.
And District 2, what is your guidance to the city manager regarding codes and ordinances?
I know we have to do something, but what I would like to personally is sometimes we sit down with Mr. Rayford and just talk about this a little bit more one-on-one with him.
Sounds good. And District 3, what is your guidance that you'd like to give the city manager concerning codes and ordinances?
In regard to identifying problems, I think it'll help us if we identify what's residential and what's commercial. And the fine fee may be different for the two. A residential issue, overgrown grass or something like that, versus commercial, we can probably justify a higher fine or something like that. But that's a consideration that we can, you know, have further discussions regarding. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And District 4, what is your guidance to the city manager regarding codes and ordinances?
The biggest thing would be consistency. You know, make sure that we're treating everybody fair and equal across the board. I agree. I feel like we get caught up in the yard/HOA patrol. You know, there are some houses that their yards are going to be an issue. They're well past the 11-inch mark, and I think those are a different discussion. But I do think we need to focus on the bigger things and not get caught up in the weeds, literally. Because that's one thing I feel like we're doing. You know, we're spending too much time on somebody's shrubs or bushes versus a bigger issue that may be lurking around the corner. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner. And District 5, what is your guidance to the city manager regarding codes and ordinances?
I concur with most of what they're saying. I do want to go ahead and swear the officers in and give them some kind of enforcement power. I think we need to reevaluate the fines, to look at the fines and make sure they're equitable for the things that are going on. So I do concur with Commissioner Simmons and Commissioner Sanders on what they said. So I say we go forward with it.
Okay. If I can answer that fine question, I just as a comparison, you know, if a fine is $600 and we spending $3,000 to get it to the court, and I mean, and then they might pay it then. I mean, it's like it just don't make any. I don't know how much if the fine was $3,000, which they ain't got neither, but if it was $3,000, maybe that was something to look at. I always mention the fines is they don't have any meat to them either, where they are right now. So we definitely need to raise them significantly. But again, I don't want to lose this message. We do got to find out what is going to be the trigger to make the city want to be better. I mean, I know you can paint your own bill. I know we're going to do an initiative on Oak Street here in September with plans to go to the other corridors and do all we can do with the few volunteer groups that we have. But, you know, we're talking about 100 people in the city that actually go try to do stuff in the city, make it better. So we got to figure out the rest of those people who are able-bodied, you know, how can we get them engaged to, you know, keep Wake Cross going and make it look presentable for local businesses coming in here. That's it, Mr. Mayor. You have any questions?
I won't share mine now. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, Mr. Mayor. At this time, Mr. Mayor, we have no privilege license renewals. We have no privilege licenses, no proposed ordinances. We're going to have 4 resolutions. Is it 4? It's 4, right? Okay, I stand correct. We're going to have 3 resolutions. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I will turn to the city attorney for her report if she has one tonight.
No report this time.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Mr. Mayor, I'll go into my report. Kind of touch on a lot of things. Of course, infrastructure update remains the same. Road and transportation remain the same with Brunel and Scrivens. We did go ahead. Many of you requested stop sign reviews and speed sign reviews. So I think we only had 2 incidents where they did not pass Chief Cox and the engineers' recommendations. So I'll email you on those findings this week. But for the most part, I think we had 7 that came in. So there will either be a stop sign installed or a speed limit change for those locations. Water, sewer, and stormwater. As you know, we've had with the fiber optics team going through, we've had a lot of lines hit. I did instruct them to stop all operations until we can sit down and figure out what the problem is with the locates. Gonna work with Director Hawkins is gone and Director Simmons at some point in time this week or next week and talk to those organizations and find a better way, because we're definitely losing a lot of water through them. Budget and financial management. Again, the budget reflects our commitment to financial responsibility, and all this kind of leads into the conversation we had earlier about our codes and animal management. We definitely want to better use our money and turn the investment on those programs, so we definitely got to change how we do certain things. July financial report. Whoops. Community development. And again, for the public, we did, and this, I was supposed to have Oath speak at this point right now, Oath in the hospital. So I want to say on their behalf, like, we really appreciate everything that they do. But we in the Ware County Children Initiative and a few other programs that we have going on, where they are definitely short volunteers. So this all adds back to, you know, these few organizations are really taking care of all the way across, and they strongly need more volunteers. I briefly mentioned about the kids timing out of the foster care program, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. They need places to stay. So again, we need volunteers in all aspects of these programs. So had they had more time, they would have made that request. So again, we'll start putting that information through the commissions, into town halls, online about volunteer opportunities, because if we don't get more help because of some of the funding that these programs are losing at the state and federal level, they're going to have to really shut down what they can do as well. And we'll rely on these programs to do so much already. Attorney cases, these remain the same. 90-day tracker. As we discussed, overgrowth is a big one on here. And again, this is an 18-month process. If they sign for the letter, when we send it to them. Unsafe structures. Looking ahead, we're gonna work on infrastructure planning. We have a lot of grants coming through right now. I want to thank the grant team for that fruition. Property management improvements. Like I said, I did reach out to some other cities because all cities are facing blight. We're not alone on that. There was more creative ideas. And economic development opportunity. We discussed that kind of capital improvement and planning. We'll be bringing back to the commission at the next meeting that meter, the Black Shear meter project that we talked about probably 6 months ago. So I think they did get an engineer. They want to discuss that again, so I'll bring that back. That is contingent on our interconnection line that we're getting done right now too with the industrial park. But that's going to be a great revenue source to work on our existing water and sewer infrastructure as far as expanding that or replacing that. Staying connected. This is how you stay connected. Now I gotta change this because we got about probably like 10 more ways for you to communicate with the city through the business department. So we'll update this. We're gonna try to send stuff out through the water bills so people can kind of understand. One thing I did get from the animal management meeting, folks are really disconnected from the city on how they receive information. So I appreciate the commission that got the newsletters going out. That was a big plus. The newspaper doing what they can do. But we got to figure out how to get to the masses because a lot of our residents simply don't know what's going on. They're unable to attend meetings or watch YouTube or Facebook archives. And then some of them really need information to better their lives or help us better their lives. So we're going to try to one more push to give them other ways to communicate. I think the text feature that we get is a great way. So we're going to do one more drive to push that out. Hopefully they'll sign up for that. And then we'll kind of go from there. And with that, Ms. Mayor, that completes the work session. We do have an executive session on personnel. A personnel update.
With that, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for personnel.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
There's a motion to go into
Second.
executive session for personnel. The motion was made by our Mayor Pro Tem and second by District 5. All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries. You're in executive session.